Welcome back to the DLLS Mavs podcast. Appreciate you joining us here and happy to have on the program today, of course, All City NBA podcast host and ESPN in-game and in-studio analyst, our teammate here at the All City Network. Former Dallas Maverick, of course he is, Tim Legler. Tim, what's going on?
I'm good. How are you? Excited for based on your first sampling of the team? How you feeling?
That's right. Excited to see a little bit of Cooper Flagg on Monday. We'll get to him here in just a moment, but just excited in general that basketball is back and that we're just a couple of weeks away from the NBA's regular season. A lot of anticipation, of course, for the Dallas Mavericks. Let's just jump into it because Cooper Flagg made his debut in a Mavericks uniform on Monday. 10 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, played the first half for the Mavericks. Your thoughts overall on Cooper Flagg's debut and what you saw from him in the 14, 15 minutes that we saw from him in that first half?
Well, I think the thing that stood out to me more than anything else was just how relaxed he looked. He didn't look that relaxed in his first Summer League game in Vegas. I thought he was pressing, and, that was the first time he put on an NBA uniform, but it was still Summer League, and he was clearly one of the best players on the floor. So you would think maybe he would have been more relaxed there, but he looked more relaxed actually in his first actual preseason game out there with the other guys that are going to be in the rotation. And I just thought he looked so comfortable. And you saw the versatility. You saw the defense. You saw the playmaking. You saw the athleticism. You saw the size. You saw the shot making with a couple of nice threes off the dribble, which was impressive because I still think that will be the one thing that will be streaky for him probably this year. But he knocked down 2 threes pretty effortlessly. But I just thought you saw the overall impact of the number of ways that he can affect the game. And again, it was a pretty small sample size, only 14 minutes, but a pretty impressive stat line for the time he was out there.
Flagg constantly talks about impacting the game at a high level, playing with the versatility that he's capable with. One of the things the Mavericks are going to ask him to do this year is be a little bit of a playmaker. What did you think of his ability to handle pressure as a ball handler and what the Mavericks are going to ask him to do a little bit from a playmaking aspect this year?
Yeah, it was impressive. And that's another thing I said about him after his Vegas debut was the amount of pressure he was facing. And he saw it again. Like Cason Wallace picked him up full court in this game. And he had no problem advancing the ball up the floor. And you're talking about one of the better three-quarter court pressure defenders in the league. Cason Wallace could turn you multiple times. He gives even traditional point guards nightmares with the number of times he could turn you. And it wears on you over the course of time. Cooper Flagg had no issue with it whatsoever. Even went behind his back with the left hand, like to escape him in the backcourt. And what it did was it immediately created a size advantage for Dallas. And you saw him then go and kind of put his back on him and get him down into the post. And what it led to was a collapsing of the defense and then his ability to find guys with a lob, a little shovel pass underneath for another dunk. So that's what was interesting to me. If he's comfortable handling the ball up the floor in a cross match against a smaller player where they're not winning that because he's picking the ball up 40 feet out from the basket and getting rid of it. If he maintains his dribble the way he did in this game, you have an instantaneous mismatch that you've created with a guy that sees the floor and reads the floor that well. That's a cool advantage for the Mavericks to have and something I think they're going to take advantage of. So I was very impressed with how he was able to handle the ball against one of the better up-the-floor on-ball defenders in this league.
With that being said, what more do you want to learn about Cooper Flagg in this preseason as he continues to get his feet wet in the NBA right now?
I think, listen, there's nothing really you can nitpick in a negative way about this, and I don't think we're going to do that about Cooper Flagg for a while. I think what you're going to see, what you're going to want to see, give the guy 20 games and see if after 20 games – he's starting to have a little bit more swagger to his game offensively where, because right now he's going to be out there with guys that have done a lot of things in this league offensively at a really high level, right? And including a guy even like D'Angelo Russell and like what he's done in this league. So I think there's going to be a deference there on the part of Cooper Flagg that's natural for a rookie. And he'll pick his spots and he'll have moments in that first 20, 25 games. But I think when you get to about that benchmark, as you get into the, after the first of the year, you're going to want to see those nights where maybe Cooper Flagg comes out and he's feeling himself a little bit more as a scorer, an initiator. Maybe that means it's a playmaker because he starts to see traffic and whatnot, but just more aggressive in general as the year goes, because I think he's got a chance to really find his stride really quickly. Some rookies are just built that way. I think Cooper Flagg is built that way. And even when he's not there offensively yet, he still will impact as a playmaker with his defense, with his IQ, with his anticipation. All of those things, his effort, his intensity, all of that stuff will help them win. But then when he finds that level where he's walking out there thinking, hey, man, I can do things offensively now because I'm really relaxed and comfortable, and his veterans start to respect him more, that's when you're going to see Cooper Flagg, when you go, wow, okay, this guy has a chance to be really special.
And of course, Flagg's going to be surrounded by a ton of talent on this team, including Anthony Davis. In Vancouver, Jason Kidd talked about the idea of Anthony Davis being a Domantas Sabonis-like hub offensively. We know that the Kings love to do the dribble handoffs and that type of thing. Jay Triano coming over as assistant coach for this offense. Do you like Anthony Davis in that particular role? What could that look like based on what we know about Anthony Davis as a player?
I definitely like it conceptually because a couple things. Number one, he sets an incredibly wide screen. So dribble handoffs with Anthony Davis are a problem to get around defensively. Like he's just a massive guy, takes up a big footprint. So those handoffs are very difficult to navigate with a guy that big. But then the other part of that is what comes out of the dribble handoff. His ability to hand it off, and then his diving ability and his hands in traffic and the number of things you could have available to him, the way that could potentially collapse the edges of the lane to take away that dive after a dribble handoff for a lob or something where he's catching it in the short pocket. The way those corner and wing defenders have to kind of sink into the lane to take that away and help on that action means better looking 3-point shots, more time on the perimeter for those other guys, which opens up their offense. So I think conceptually it's a really good idea because he's skilled enough. He's a good enough screener. And then the secondary action you get out of that because of his talent and his ability to catch the ball on the move can create a lot of problems for the defense.
And he's going to be surrounded in a front court that features not only Cooper Flagg, but also Derek Lively the second. We saw that trio be the starting front court in the game against Oklahoma City. When you look at what the Mavericks have built from that standpoint, especially defensively, have they put together one of the best front courts, if not the best front court in the league, given the amount of talent, athleticism, and skill that they have now on this team?
I think it's going to be right there with anybody's. Yes. And I think this is a team that has the potential to be top 10, top 5 defensive rated team in the league. And I think when you pair Anthony Davis with Derek Lively, and now you've got a long wing with the type of ground coverage that Cooper Flagg represents. And the reason he covers so much ground, he's a good athlete, but he's also got incredible anticipation because he just understands the game. So his ability to like sink in from the weak side to take away a cutter, knowing that he can't shift his weight too much in that direction because he'll never recover to the 3-point line. Cooper Flagg doesn't find himself in that situation very often. He understands he's got a stunt to help on the dive guy because there's action taking place, but he always is already moving his body toward the closeout before the ball's reversed. It's something I've watched on film. I saw it firsthand sitting there courtside in Vegas. He has a great feel weak side off the ball and where the next action is going to get there in plenty of time. So I think when you combine the size of Davis and Lively with the versatility, IQ, and anticipation of Cooper Flagg, you have a chance now to really do some special things in the paint and even on your ability to close out, because AD is a great closeout defender as well. Your ability to close out and make those 3-point shots more difficult and force guys to put it back down. I think Dallas has a chance to really, really be a top shelf defensive team because of that.
Does this team have enough offense, Tim? We know how good this team is defensively and what we anticipate them to be. Will they have enough offense to be able to hold teams in position to allow that defense to clamp down on what they want to do night in and night out?
I think it depends. It depends on how quickly Cooper Flagg gets there, where he's comfortable and consistent production and he's efficient. That's going to take some time. All rookies take time. So that's part of it. How good is D'Angelo Russell going to be? You know, because he's a great pickup to sort of stem the tide till Kyrie comes back. If he comes back, and we expect him to be at some point, but it's a long stretch. You're talking about a lot of games, more than half the season, certainly. So is he playing well and at a high level? We've seen D'Angelo Russell in this league do it before. He's had months in this league. You know, he's been north of 20 points a game efficiently. If he's playing well offensively, it'll be enough. And then you always got to factor in, the role playing 3-point shooters. It was a major problem for them when they lost in the finals. And they tried to address that by adding Klay Thompson. So that got better. But those are the guys that got to make shots because I think the looks will be there. And now you have another ball mover on the floor in Flagg. who just really gets the ball to point A to point B, doesn't waste any time with it. He knows if that next pass has to go, it's got to go to the wing. So guys like PJ Washington and Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, Max Christie, these guys are going to have to knock down shots. And then I'd like to see Jaden Hardy take a leap forward this year as well and providing some offense, particularly in the open floor. Played 22 minutes the other night, 4 for 13, had 12 points. I'm hoping there's a step forward there for Jaden Hardy as well because I think he's got a lot of talent.
There's a lot to be excited about this team this upcoming season, and Cooper Flagg at the top of that for this Mavericks team. We'll be, of course, chronicling him all season long here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. Tim, as always, good to see you, my guy. Appreciate the time, as always. Look forward to your coverage all year long, of course, on the All-NBA podcast with Adam Mars and, of course, on ESPN in-game and also in studio. Good to see you as always, Tim. We'll take care, man, all right?
Always good. I'll talk to you soon.